the room briefly, and then we go to Frederick. So also for my folks here who know me, Celine, Matthias, Kirsten, Igor, P. So the idea of the room is to listen, to ask someone with a different perception of the first 60 days of Trump, what you feel about it, etc. Short questions and listen to the answer. I think it might be interesting, especially for people abroad, like in Germany, to listen to the different nuances you will hear from like people like Brad, who rated Trump's first 60 days 8 out of 10, Francine 5 out of 10, me 3.5 out of 10. I hope I don't have, I don't, hurt the feelings of any Germans. And Marshall 5 out of 10. And my friend actually 8 out of 10. So I would, Francine, do you want to go back and ask my friend 2-3 questions, or shall we move on? It's up to you.
I'd like to move on.
Okay, then I would say Frederick. Yeah, that's it. Frederick, who do you want to pick and ask a few questions? Frederick. Nice picture, by the way.
Yes, thank you. Yeah, Dr. Francine, maybe. Well, why not?
You are very on demand, Dr. Francine. You have to know for the audience, Dr. Francine is the Clubhouse diva, or no, I shouldn't say that. She's the Clubhouse celebrity. Not only does she know the founders of Clubhouse, but she was married 5 times. I can say that here because she said that in a long interview. And she has a wealth of experience in life, so we have the advantage to talk to her. She herself says she's a liberal.
Classical liberal. I am not.
You are a classical liberal, yes.
I am not a libtard. I just believe that rational thought is applicable to things like government.
Yes. So, Frederick, first question for Dr. Francine.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, Dr. Francine, have you ever been to war?
No.
And what are your thoughts on the whole Ukraine-Russia conflict?
Well, I have been a peacenik all my life. I don't think war serves anybody, and I think it's in the 21st century an absolutely stupid and backwards way of settling things.
Okay, and what has happened in the last 4 years?
A lot of men have postured.
Okay, and do you understand how many sanctions were placed on global fertilizer supplies, oil, gas, wheat, bread, etc.? I mean, have you ever heard of how many sanctions were actually placed in the last 4 years?
Absolutely, I've heard of it. I've also heard of how people get around those sanctions and how sanctions don't usually work.
Okay, and so do you think that the world is currently decoupling? I mean, are we decoupling from globalization that was placed since, I guess, World War II and whatnot, with SWIFT in place and central banks communicating back and forth? I mean, because as far as I can tell, there's been 25,000 sanctions placed in the last 4 years on all the global food supplies. For instance, that's why you saw a 50% increase in African food prices.
Damn.
So do you think, are we decoupling from Eurasia and whatnot? What are your thoughts on that?
We are decoupling. I know that Trump wants us to decouple. I think it's wrong because I guess if you ask me what my position is, I would say I am a globalist because in the age of the internet is, it's impossible to really decouple. Our supply chains are all
Last question, Frederick.
Yeah, but how many sanctions were placed on global commodities like food, oil, fertilizer, like 70% of global fertilizer? I don't know which fecal matter we would need to use to grow food otherwise, like vegetables, fruits, etc., etc. Are you aware of the number of sanctions, economic sanctions, global sanctions that were placed in the last 4 years, not during the current administration?
not in any detail. But to be honest, I'm not so much in favor of chemical fertilizers to the point where I don't even like American food because it's all polluted by chemical fertilizers.
All right.
So that's a whole other.
Frederick, you realize that Dr. Francine is not an world expert on fertilizers. But I thank you for your questions. They were very specific, and that's fine. Not really to the topic of Trump, but that's fine too. So, Dr. Francine, if you want to ask Frederick, always agree, you could. Otherwise, we can move on. But it's up to you.
Frederick, do you expect Trump to roll back some of those sanctions?
No, doesn't seem like it.
And then my next question would be, what is the question behind your question?
Trying to gauge your cognitive abilities in terms of being able to tell how many sanctions were placed in the last 4 years in comparison to, at the moment, your talk of terrorism.
Oh, well, my cognitive abilities about how many sanctions have been placed are nil because I'm not an expert.
Last question, Dr. Francine. Or if you have two, that's fine.
No, I think I'm done. Yeah, my cognitive abilities have been exposed. So I think
it's all good. To be honest, the cognitive abilities are going down the drain of every human being, and that's probably good in a way. With a little bit of less cognitive abilities, I think life is much easier. Looking at myself, I'm just kidding. My friend, you want to ask questions?
Well, Marcus, I'm wondering, I want to say, first of all, I love your PTR, Make Us Trust Again. I really like that. And I wanted to offer that I could ask you a question.
Go ahead.
But I also,
before we get to date.
I will, but I also wanted to request that you bring up my friend in the audience. The username is Tarot Card. I know that you said that you don't like to bring up people that you don't know, but this is somebody who I know. I don't know you, but I think you're a cool guy. I like you in this room. I know Brad, I know Marshall. I've had interactions with Dr. Francine.
Already done.
So yeah, maybe Tarot Card can go in the queue, but if you want to, I only have one question for you.
It's all good.
Thank you for accommodating. He's a good guy. My question for you, if you're willing to answer, is why so low with the rating? You only rated 3.5, and I think if you're rating 1 to 10, again, if you're rating people, how pretty is this woman? She's a 1. I would never rate a human being as a 1. A 1 is a goat. And so if you're rating somebody a 3 question, if you're rating somebody why 3.5?
Yes, very good. Well, I said that maybe you were not in the room yet. But so the good part on Trump's performance is that he addresses the illegal immigration issue, not to the full extent which it should be addressed, but at least he got the numbers down, which I give him credit for that. And I do think that Biden was an idiot not to address that. So I give him credit for that. I think that my German people here in the audience would probably agree with that. He creates a lot of destruction of trust overseas, that I think is an issue because, as I said, long term, I'm a long-term thinker. I think that the US will lose the reserve currency in the world if we lose trust. So that's the biggest issue, which to me explains 70% not happy. 30% I am, and then there are some others. I hope I answered some of the questions. Do you have another question? I give you one or two more. My friend.
No, I'm good for now, but thank you for your explanation there. That makes sense.
Okay, all right. Then I would say I'll skip asking you questions, and I would give David a chance. First of all, let me welcome Michael Wieland from Berlin. So, to my German friends, you have here an opportunity to listen to real Americans like me. Just kidding. No, I am. But like Brad is 10 out of 10 in favor of what Trump did 8 out of 10, sorry, Brad. What Trump did in the first 60 days. Dr. Francine, who is a celebrity at Clubhouse, you should listen to her. She knows the founders. She was 5 times married. She has a of knowledge and wisdom. So
Notice what the categories are, the qualifications are for being a celebrity.
Yes, you would get my trust points, Dr. Francine. And you are always welcome if you visit me in Florida next year. You can stay with us. So you should listen to her. She's a liberal, but she rated Trump 5 out of 5. What a shocker for the Germans listening. And then we have my friend, I didn't know
5 out of 10.
5 out of 10, sorry. Marshall is like a lexicon of history and knowledge about the political system from Texas. And he rated Trump, 5 out of 10 also.
And he's a Republican, rating a Republican president 5 out of 10? Wow.
Yes, I believe that.
I never give A's to anybody, ever. This is not the way I'm doing.
What did you just mumble?
Okay, hold on, Tyrone.
What did you just mumble?
World politics. And then David, who is obviously critical of Trump, and we will open the space now for David. I appreciate David a lot. I know him.
What is obvious about that? Hey, nice to see you.
Marcus, he's also a fellow Texan.
I just try to be. This meme went around in my brain called critical thinking the last few years on Clubhouse, so I'm just trying to represent that.
Hey, Dr. Julian.
Okay, David.
Are you enjoying the
we appreciate you.
room,
You
or
can pick
is it
anybody
kind
in
of
the room
annoying for
and
you?
ask a few short
What
questions.
do you
and
think,
we will
Dr.
send you
Julian?
ask yourself.
I know you're holding an awesome space, so I'm a little bit, I don't want to say better at listening, but while I'm
It's all
talking
good.
and trying to stay on my list, I'll listen and
Yes,
ask a question.
that's fine.
But
Yes.
I'd rather go second test move.
Yes. Yeah, you can come back anytime. You are.
No, I'm here. I'll talk. I just
yes.
don't have any thoughts of who I wanted to have
Okay.
interlocutor with me.
Yeah. Okay, then I would hold on for a second, and I try to convince Pete to. Oh, she's gone. That's so sad. Anyway, but now we'll go to. And I'm a little hesitant to bring up other people's I don't know, so I'm sorry. Maybe my friend knows the other guy who's raising his hand.
Well, nobody knows anybody on this app.
Yeah, Dr. Marcus, let's just get to the questions.
Talk to strangers.
Yeah, I know, but I have the luxury to know a few people here.
I
See,
feel
that's
like
a
I
nice
know
thing.
people. Yeah.
Yes,
Like I
yes.
met some of the people on the stage. I don't want to get into detail. Yeah.
Okay, all right.
And I'm
Well,
willing to
then,
do most.
I have some questions, Dr. Marcus, because I'm on the Doge X account right now.
okay, Taro, I give you the stage. You can ask any of us questions. You chose me. That's fine. Go ahead. First question.
Okay, so I'm on the Doge X account, and a lot of people on Clubhouse love to talk their shit, but they don't actually read anything. So I want to just tell you some of the things that are on the Doge X account, and this is the question. I'm going to ask you based off of what I'm about to preface with. So this is from Doge. It says, this week, Interior is dissolving the Federal Consulting Group, where one government department charges another to broker consulting contracts. For example, FCG brokered a $75 million contract to design website customer satisfaction surveys and then attempted to award an $830 million to conduct similar surveys. The latter contract was discovered by Interior and Doge and was canceled before signature. So this question is to Dr. Francine or Marshall or Brad or anybody.
Okay, no, hold on, Taro, stop. The rules are you choose one, not Dr. Francine, Brad, or Frederick or Marshall. One, maybe me.
Oh, okay.
And ask me short.
Okay.
Short questions.
Okay, so do you think that at $40 trillion in national debt, the United States government should be, cutting contracts for $1 billion here, $1 billion there? And if so, does that build more trust with our European allies or less trust?
So there was two questions. The first question, should we cut the spending? Yes. Does it create more trust with European allies? That depends. Right now, I would say no. Next question.
So if we want to build trust with our European allies by not wasting our money on bullshit fraud, why wouldn't that build more trust with our European allies?
So I can give you a short answer. We have a few European allies down there, and I will ask them if you believe I have at least like Kirsten, Matthias, Celine, Michael, HM. You can look down. I ask you to raise your hand if you think that the trust to the US is going downhill in the last 60 days. Raise your hand if you
And
think
what do you
yes,
mean by
please.
trust? I don't understand. Why? And what about the American voters and taxpayers? Shouldn't they trust their government? Why does anybody care about European trust?
Short questions. So you're asking, what do you mean with trust? Trust is a feeling, as you know. And I can tell you that the feeling of many people in Europe, Celine is bringing up the hand, is going downhill. Is that legitimate? Is it okay? Does it affect us? That's different questions. I live in the United States. I'm a US citizen. When I talk to Germans, folks at home, I'm just reporting what they say, what the newspapers write. Is it legitimate? You could argue about it. Is it just? Worth to discuss.
Well, I don't think we're arguing about things. I think we're just doing Q&As back and forth, correct?
Yeah. No, hold on. Yeah, but you need to listen to my answer. And my answer should be by definition longer than your question. Next question.
So if Donald Trump pulls the United States out of NATO, saving us $300 billion a year in order to pay off our $40 trillion deficit, do you think that will build more trust or less trust with our European allies?
That will decrease trust a lot because the United States does provide a lot of the infrastructure which Europe cannot replace right now. Should they get more independent of the US? Yes. Do they have to do something about it? Yes. Are they trying to? Yes. But to pull out of the United States out of NATO, does that make sense? No, in my perception.
Do you think the taxpayers in this country that voted Donald Trump into office trust their government?
The taxpayers who voted for Donald Trump, if they trust the government. So I think that a lot of people in the US, my fellow US citizens I meet at work every day, do not trust the government. Prior to Trump, and I think right
Gotcha,
now,
bitch! Trick question!
some are enthused and positive. but a lot still don't trust the action they see. So yes, I think that's inherent feature of our society, that in the US, unlike in Germany or in France, we have a certain level of distrust to the government, which is in our genes. I have German genes, but yes, I'm a US citizen and I understand that feeling.
Got it. So at $40 trillion in debt, do you think the citizens now, the voters, the taxpayers, do you think they trust their government in America more now, or do you think they trusted the Biden and Kamala administration more then?
I think that's a complex question. Obviously, Trump was voted, so there was a big distrust in Kamala and in Biden, and that didn't surprise me because they are perceived by many as, trouble, which the Germans probably didn't understand, but that's fine. I live here. Trump obviously created more deficit than actually the presidents before. So we'll have to see if he can keep and satisfy the feelings of U.S. citizens.
Got it.
I think there's a very, very mixed responses right now, as you can.
So this
hear on
is
stage.
my follow-up question. Marshall Rankin Stankin says he's a Republican, and he says my party. He voted for Kamala Harris. Do you think Marshall voted for Kamala or Donald Trump? He voted Kamala.
Thing to do with it. Don't bring me into that.
Okay, no cross talking.
Just don't involve me with it.
Yeah, Taro, don't mention any other name while
Follow the
talking to
rules,
me.
Taro. Follow the
Follow
rules.
the rules, Taro.
Marcus, I've got a question for you, which is, did you like Biden?
Did I like Biden? I think the Biden.
Or not even
was-
the Biden, let's be really clear. I'm not talking about did you like Biden as a person. I'm wondering, did you like Biden as a president?
That's okay. I'll try to answer. So I think that Biden was average corrupt, like many politicians. So do I think he was? He should have withdrawn much earlier. And do I think he had, based on personal tragedies, which we all know, had some sort of a human positive attitude? I would say yes. So he went through a lot of personal issues, and I think as a human being, it's difficult to judge someone like him. You should
Did
judge
you vote
anybody.
for him? Did you vote for Biden? And then did you vote for Kamala?
Okay, that's a clear question. I give you a clear answer. I could never have voted for Donald Trump, and I never voted for him.
So, but
for me,
did you vote?
Hold on, let me just answer that. But for me, it's not a matter of Biden 80, Trump 20. It was more like, at least with Kamala, I would say it was more like 45, 55. I just can't vote for Trump.
What do you mean by that 45, 55? I don't understand. You're saying 45 or 55% of you wanted to vote for Kamala, or what?
Correct. I'm not a Trump hater. That's what I tried to say.
But you said you would never vote for him.
Yes, because I would never give him a job in our practice.
But not because you hate him, just because you really don't think he would do a good job.
Yes, because I doubt his ability to do what's on my cap. Make us trust again. That's the reason. Very simple.
Fascinating.
Another question?
Can you understand the perspective of people like myself who grew up in America, always voted Democrat until 2024, and then voted for Trump because we began to see that the Democrat Party... I almost want to make a statement. I know your rules are questions only. Let's form it in a question. Can you understand my perspective? I was always Democrat, then I went for Trump. And
yes.
Short answer is yes.
Question. Hold
All right,
on.
one question.
I give you my answer. So my daughter voted for Trump. My son met Donald Trump. some of my best friends voted for Donald Trump. That's not an issue for me. I still love them. But I could not vote for him. I'm sorry.
That's pathetic.
I guess my second question is, have you always thought that it goes without saying that politicians are corrupt? I did not grow up thinking that politics in America were corrupt. I grew up thinking that politics in America were relatively, compared to the rest of the world, were less corrupted than the rest of the world. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it's become corrupt. Or has it always been, or does it just go without saying that politicians are always corrupt?
Okay, so the answer to that, hold on, David. Let me just answer that.
That's pathetic.
So the answer, my friend, is that in the United States, in our society, we are both part of the society. Money is a very important parameter of everything. I'm a physician. The Excel sheets of the private equity who controls our practice are the Quran. That's a funny comparison. My CEO didn't like it, but I bring it up. So what I try to say with that, and there's nothing necessarily bad with that, but obviously societies need also some sort of like something else than just money. They need family. They need some sort of rituals. 4th of July, come together, community. You would agree with that probably. And so I do think that in the development of the United States, as so many other countries, we are moving more into the balance, money only matters. And that's what I'm trying to say. So that's the reason when that happens, that there is obviously a higher likelihood that people get corrupt. And I think that's the reason why, in conjunction with that identity loss, people flock to the MAGA movement.
It's go to usdebtclock.org and look at the actual financial situation and ask yourself, is this sustainable to be awarding billion-dollar contracts that are unnecessary? No, it's not. And all these anti-Trump derangement syndrome people refuse to look at numbers. Then you just say, it's not all about money. It's about ritual and ceremony and coming together as a family and a nation. Sir, the government is broke. They spent everything.
Okay, that's not along the rules, but I completely agree with you. I know these numbers and they are not sustainable, but they will be even less sustainable if we lose selling treasury funds to China and Japan because they don't trust us. So let's
kick
go
into the
to
goo.
David now. My friend, sorry I had to move down your friend, but I'm pretty strict with my...
No, it's okay. He was being
David.
irascible.
Sure. Hey,
Thank you,
everybody.
thank you.
Yeah, I didn't want to interrupt. I know that's not cool. I just got another call to change some stuff on my schedule today. I didn't know how long you were going to run the room, and I like the format you traditionally hold, where people don't editorialize and whatnot. So, how much time do we have, or I'll just go now?
I'll be around for another hour, David. You can come back.
I'll just.
All right, everybody, that's the show. I'm going to actually read a book. That's right. I don't just talk about politics. I read books about philosophy. Okay, thanks for coming to the Trump derangement syndrome. I hate Donald Trump, and I am very angry. That's the name of my show. I hope you enjoyed it. There's nothing else really to talk about. And I am going to end these rooms. So, Umar, John, Julian, hope you enjoyed it. I hope it's been a good look into essentially psychology, because people that hate Donald Trump are retarded, and they hate something about themselves, which is that they are bitches and retards and liars and frauds, scammers and schemers who want to waste your life with their bullshit. Essentially, as the taxpayer, you have the 100% right to demand a ledger, to know where your dollars are going by a bunch of faggot Democrats wasting your life. Could you imagine going to work your whole life to fund a Democrat's transgender abortion agenda? Is that what we are Americans are? Is we work for Democrat spending? No, we don't. We don't live our lives for Democrats. We now live our lives to fight, to destroy, and to imprison the Democrats, our enemy, our sworn enemy. Until the last breath of our life, we will fight them tooth and nail. And after we destroy the Democrats, we will turn inward and crush the fake rhino Republicans like Marshall Rankin Stankin and all the other fake rhino Republicans who want to do the exact same thing to you. But instead of spending it on abortions and transgenders, they'll spend it on war to go kill people and spend your money. And they don't even take the resources afterwards to pay it back. They give it all away. So we're living with a bunch of traitors, a bunch of feckless, feeble-minded traitors to the Republic. These people are enemies of the state. You should document them, know them by name, and put them in a database for termination and elimination. Politically, of course, not physically. We wouldn't get physical. We want to win at the ballot box. And if we lose at the ballot box and they cheat by fraud and deception, we will have no choice but to begin making citizen arrests and taking these prisoners and putting them deep underground in unknown tunnels where they will never be seen again as we continue our operations for geopolitical supremacy.
Those individuals, because when I look at Victoria Newlands and Neera Tandy's and all of these other individuals, I'm not a big fan of any of them, and I believe they've caused more harm in the world under their own ideology, and they didn't really represent American people.
Any more questions, David, or do you want to answer Brad's questions?
I thought it was 3 and 3, so let's go with Brad. I'm fine with it.
Brad, any questions for David?
Thank you, though, Brad.
Sure. How do you feel about the Schedule F argument?
How do I feel about it? Are you talking about the people? I don't know the specifics. I heard about it on Project 2025, and then I paid attention to people that said that wasn't Trump's plan, so I then tweeted out, is it the thing that's in Project 2025, or is it?
It's on Agenda
Basically, my question is,
47.
what's the most number of employees that this could affect?
Did he kick you?
So
So I
it's about,
understand it better.
it's about 50.
Sorry, what'd you say? Hello? Can you hear me?
And others that decree foreign policies, that decree
Check,
domestic
check.
policies, they write legislation, they work on behalf of
I
lobbyists.
decided I got bored. He's retarded, and he was kind of being a dick. At first, I thought it was funny because you don't like it when people ask questions, and his rule is only questions. So at first I thought, oh, this is funny. We're gonna do this, but then he just kind of is like a stupid douchebag. So he turned into another retard, low IQ, dumb person wasting time.
I agree. He rates Trump at a 3, so he's clearly got Trump derangement syndrome. But yeah, I really hate Marshall Rankin. He is one stinking ass fucking faggot. He is one fake Republican bitch. He talks as if he owns the party, my side of the aisle. And he's just a fraud. I mean, and there's a lot of guys like him who he voted Kamala. He voted for Kamala.
Is he? What is he? He's like a never Trumper,
Yeah, basically.
or he's a? Yeah, I mean, yeah, they're stupid. I mean, look, I was ahead of the woke curve. I was woke when I was 18. 17. I was like, eat the rich. I was like, I'm going through a dead zone anyway. I'm going to mute up.
Yeah, I know you felt that way, but that was also your conditioning, your programming. You were programmed to think and feel that way. It wasn't independent. You didn't you're not some fucking, your environment. I mean, you didn't, you can't look back on that and say that was my intuition. That was your programming. That was your conditioning. You're a product of your state. I mean, you live in one of the most liberal states in the whole country. Everything around, all the communication you took in was engineered to make you think and feel that way. So you can't blame yourself, let alone there's nothing to blame. It's just, we are a product of communication. And Dr. Francine Hardaway, the fiscal conservative who's been married 5 times, Elon and Donald are not leaders. They're not going to take you to the promised land. They're frauds and corrupt oligarchs who are stealing all of your money. They're closing the Social Security offices and denying benefits to old people who can't go to the office, who do verification by the phone. And there's so much data on everyone, there's no fraud. What they're doing is criminal, and we have to resist. And the deep state patriots are organizing to resist the movements of Doge. Think about that. I have to douche my pussy. So welcome to the comedy routine known as Deep State Patriots, where virtue signalers will waste your time with moralistic virtue signaling for 8 hours a day. That's right, Julian. You're one of them with your disgusting PTR of a murderer that you glorify. A murderer, someone who pulled a gun out and blew somebody's fucking head off. And that's your favorite PTR, Dr. Julian.
Wait, who is the PTR?
Dr. Mangione.
Is that who it is?
Yeah, he's this F word, N word supports a murderer. That's the,
Oh, Julian, you like Mangione?
Yeah, he thinks what he did was a great thing, and he praises it. So, Zach, you do realize he's like a Palestinian who, when you talk to him on this app, and you've often noted that it's unbelievable that these people technically, linguistically, will admit to wanting to murder me. He's that kind of F word, N word.
I see. He would kill you if given the chance.
Yeah, he's a potential homicidal murderer.
Got it.
Yeah, you see how that works, Dr. Julian? That's what you are. You need to go to the gym and read a book and try to re-educate yourself. Do you know who James is on this app? MAGA James with his orange hat. He thinks he's like some.
Yeah.
I heard him say to some Schwarzes on this app one time, you, sir, have forgot what it is your government is and what your place is. It's the fact that you forgot that you're a member of a republic and that you're not acting according to the rules of the game. And the fact is, what you're doing is illegal. And, you have the sentiment of illegality. Welcome to the room, Dr. Julian. And I don't dislike you personally. I think you're a pretty mellow guy.
I like Julian. I'm sad to hear that you are,
I'm roasting
this
him.
way.
I'm roasting him. It's not personal, Dr. Julian.
It's very fair. I mean, anybody who supports Luigi Mangione is a dummy.
Yeah. You're stupid, Dr. Julian. But that's okay. That's why you're here. You're stupid.
Julian, do you have a... Yeah. Well, I was going to say, do you have like a list of other people who you also think should have their heads blown out? Like, in addition to whoever that was, the fat healthcare guy who died?
Not
You don't even have to list them, but just do you have a list in your mind? You don't have to tell me the list, but in your mind where you're like, yeah, there's like 50 people who they could all get it.
I won't say that on recorded channels.
Well, this is all allegedly, hypothetically. This is hypothetical.
Yeah, I won't answer that on recorded channels, but so Dr. Wisdom, I actually think you brought this up in another room, and I just kind of wanted to say that in response to the whole Mangione conundrum, that Luigi Mangione is innocent until proven guilty. His legal team is being withheld evidence, and they're having to watch HBO shows in order to find what the prosecution is about, what the prosecution has against him.
Okay, well, thanks for that news update. Thanks for that amazing update, Dr. Mangione. And have you seen the O.J. Simpson HBO movie?
Julian, are you gay?
What?
Are you gay?
Only questions and answers in this room, please. We're gonna do the same game.
If you are gay.
What, are you gay? So anyway, OJ,
Please,
I don't
only
think so,
questions
but
and
I know
answers. Go
about
ahead.
I know about the O.J. Simpson trial.
Okay, so I'm trying to correlate between what you perceive as, them having to go to HBO to figure out how to conduct a trial. Anyways, listen, you're very stupid. So I want you to listen more than you speak in this room. You're not a mod. I hope you stick around, but I also want you to listen more than you speak, because you, young sir, are in need of reconditioning, and we are just the two, Yiddishkeit to help you do that this beautiful Shabbos. We try to keep Shabbos holy, okay? It's one of the commandments.
I feel like Dr. Wisdom and your friend the trash bag is like really the ultimate comic book duo.
Yeah, we are the very aggressive but also friendly Saturday morning cartoon show that you never really wanted to watch as a kid, and thus why you're in the predicament that you're in now. And that's why we hope to help you, Dr. Julian.
Anyway, Luigi Mangione is innocent and deserves a fair trial.
Everybody deserves a fair trial.
I can agree with that. He might be innocent until proven guilty, and he deserves a fair trial. But forget whether it's Luigi Mangione or not. Do you support that nigga who shot that other nigga?
Whoever it is,
Am I in the Matrix?
no. It sounds like you're driving now. It's great. But whoever popped that CEO's head off, yeah, that's messed up. Murder should never be condoned. But yeah.
But if it was Dr. Mangione, you do agree that he should be terminated, right? Like, he should be capitally punished and have his head blown the fuck off because it's called eye for an eye, tooth for a tooth. You notice how I said tooth for tooth? Did you like that? Go ahead, Dr. Julian. What's your response?
We'll see.
Wait, I'm just trying to understand. You might be like Luigi Mangione is innocent, and that might be true. But do you support the shooting of the random guy, or no? You think that was bad?
What does that have to do with Luigi's case?
Okay, only no answering questions with questions, okay? That's part of the game. We're doing the same Marcus rules here.
The nigga who shot that other nigga.
No, I don't support that nigga who shot the other nigga.
Okay, good. So we agree. You don't think it's good to just shoot random people on the street. To be clear, I don't think it's good to shoot random people on the street, even regardless of whatever they might have done. but a lot of people seem to be supporting Luigi Mangione, and Dr. Wisdom might have confused me a little bit because I assumed that you support Luigi Mangione because you think it was good that he shot that guy. And I was just trying to, without even like attacking you, I was just trying to understand, do you actually support that guy who shot that other guy or no?
Well, murders never be condoned. But at the end of the day, Brian Thompson is guilty of his own crimes, and
So you think Brian Thompson deserved to be shot?
And the most high will put him in purgatory, and his crimes will be judged accordingly.
So you think that you don't necessarily even support the guy who did it, but you think that the fact that it happened to this guy, whose name was Brian Johnson, I guess, you think that was good? Or is that what you're saying?
Okay, we're moving the show along. Dr. Julian's Q&A has come to an end. And I just wanted to really roast him a little bit for his Mangione supporting. So Dr. Julian, I hope you stick around. You probably won't. I know you're going to go try to get your dopamine fill somewhere else. That's okay. Feel free to leave anytime you want, and I hope you have a great day. Welcome to the room, dog in the fleece jacket. Chris, welcome to the Deep State Patriots. We are taking over the Deep State Patriots with an alternative. Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat Shalom.
Back from church, listened to a good sermon, and it's a pretty good pastor.
Why don't you retransmit the sermon to us right now? Go ahead.
So from what it was read was like, it's all about inclusion, man. You have to be very inclusive. Jesus was inclusive. He was inclusive to like a tax collector who turned against the Jews, and you can never do that, especially against your own tribe. And that was like, that's what it was all about. Like, he touched just like sick people, people who had leprosy.
Chris, can I ask you a question? Do you think it was more of the type of like be inclusive to Republicans type of inclusive, or be inclusive to like transgender immigrants type of inclusive?
To be honest, I think anyone can like take whatever sort of information in their own mind will then like project onto like it with like their own experiences. So like it's really up to like interpretation, I guess.
See, I view immigrants and trans or anybody who's not a U.S. citizen or somebody who is demanding acceptance for what we might call mental health or behavioral problems. I take it with a grain of salt, meaning that I see the pain that they may not be admitting to. Or that they don't want to talk about, because it's not a natural state. And the problem is there's so much compression going on in each person, all the communication, all the terror that they've lived with. Because a lot of these people who left their countries, they left because their shit sucked. And they were like, maybe on a hope and a dream, my life can turn around in America. That's the myth of America. So
if like America is an idea, why don't you take that freaking idea back to your own?
See, that's the thing about enlightenment, is you don't need geographic proximity to obtain a state of mind. And that's why my friend the trash bag, who constantly says, I love to do Aliyah and go live in Israel and work in Israel and die in Israel and start over in Israel. Going somewhere doesn't fix an internal problem or a long-term problem. Being in the now is how you control the pitfalls and the unseen variables that inevitably arrive as you, as you create actions in your life. This
girl at work, did I tell you that I read her the Tao Te Ching?
Yeah.
Baruch Hashem, congratulations.
And like after I immediately read it, she went to Amazon and bought it in front of me.
Yeah.
she was like, "Wow, this is so good."
That's amazing. There you go.
It was really cool.
Yeah. I've had really interesting experiences with Dao De Jing. When I was first on this app, there was an older gentleman who created a room almost every night, and he and other people would read Dao De Jing for about an hour. It was a great room. Um,
Yeah, we discussed the Tao Te Ching on my first date with my girlfriend, who drives me crazy sometimes. But first date, I was like, I like the Tao Te Ching. She was like, oh, that's great. And we kind of talked about it for a little bit. I thought, okay, that's good. Good sign.
And then she was like, "Wow, this really like calmed me down. Like, I'm usually like a very angry person."
Yeah, she was like, I'm so chill. She was like, I'm so calm.
Yeah, anger is the big thing. That is always the big thing. I have this one Buddhist book by this woman.
That's why I gotta say I really love Bussy. You know why? Because he tries to induce anger out of you. And it's like,
And he succeeds.
and you know what? Like it's more like he's like a mind, sort of like a mind reader. Like when you go like get your palm read.
Mind reader. He's a mind virus.
He's gonna look like he's scattering his net to hit any sensitive targeted points that you.
Right. I mean, he's a douchebag. Is another way of putting it.
No, see,
he's an asshole.
he fills both buckets. He is an F word, N word, and he's extremely vulgar. So he's like the opposite of what I want to be. But I understand that in what he's doing. But I'll be honest with you, as a publisher, a promoter, really it is the little Richards that actually get everybody, bumping and shaking and grinding and having a good time. They serve their role. He's the ultimate F word, N word super comedian. He is the super troll of all trolls. But I would still be very weary and just know that, I certainly wouldn't want to live my life like that, nor would I want to project that onto people. But I would use him to make money and use him to be productive and invert what he's doing onto other people to make money. But, as far as like supporting him, I would only support an F word, N word guy like that if we were making money. Welcome to the room, Dr. Majed. This is I am a never Trumper in the Deep State Patriots house. Welcome, Dr. Majed. Free Palestine.
Thank you, Tarek. Can we also bring up Alexander?
Sure.
And so what do you mean by I am a never Trumper? Are you a Trump supporter or not?
Yes, I'm 100% MAGA. I voted Trump twice. Welcome, Dr. Xander, to the room. This is Deep State Patriots. Free Palestine. Assalamu alaikum.
And we're turning into interdimensional radio right now. So
streaming
from different dimensions throughout the Clubhouse universe.
Right. We're in multiple Clubhouse rooms.
We're in multiple rooms at the same time.
Is there something you wanted to say, Dr. Majed or Dr. Xander, as Trump prepares to move the first 500,000 Palestinians into Egypt in the resettlement camps?
Well, that's actually a very interesting thing that you're saying, and we were speaking about it. But I'd love to hear, Xander, what your thoughts are. Alexander, are you there with us? Well, I mean, I guess I'll just go on until you get on. Oh, I guess I don't know. He's gonna be there, not there, whatever. I mean, I get it. I mean, at the end of the day, as terrible as it is, we do have a bit Hamas to blame for a lot of the devastation that took place, because life was already kind of difficult as it was there. But I think that as the conditions were very difficult, but at least things were moving, and in my view, it's like now out of a place of fear, definitely there's no way that Israel is going to allow for people, the population there to stay, and so it's like it's a very harsh reality. It's very it's very sad to see the implementation of it, but I think at the end of the day, that's kind of the reality. I think it was a huge miscalculation. What happened on October 7th should never have happened, and that's so it's like there's a lot of moving parts to this, and I think that Trump is just a very he's being also very realistic about some things, and at the end of the day, like when we live also here in the United States.
Oh my God, it's that
we
third
have to
time.
put America first. Anyway, I kept going. So
Some of you guys, when you speak, aren't very persuasive in the manner of the word that you deploy.
Yeah, basically, Chris and I didn't like that share. We reject that.
Well, this is really like a communication analysis room, and he left. But you know, I've got 3 other clown house rooms going. I am a never Trumper, Trump derangement syndrome, and I hate Donald Trump, and I'm very angry. John, I don't know if you want to find the other room called Deep State Patriots, but really, these are like fishing nets or spider webs, and we just whatever floats in, we catch.
We are the shit, and we attract the flies.
Well, I like to say that
We are what you get at the end of the day. When the day finally ends, you end up here, and here you are. This is the end of the day. We've reached it. The day is over.
you should see some of these YouTube comments.
Is this just a bit that you do, John? Like you say, oh, look at these YouTube comments, and they're all...
No, they're real comments. What are some of the comments? Sometimes they talk about his bald head.
Somebody named J.A. wrote, PEDS patient presents with dyspnea, dysphagia, dysphonia, and drooling. Patient is cyanotic and tripoding with inspiratory stridor on auscultation. Patient is unvaccinated. What is the diagnosis? So that's why I say, like, you should see these chats. It's like very random, very strange, and it's like it's not being done by AI. Like that's some actual human being who's watching this and decided to write all that in the chat. Somebody also named Robert Carey wrote bald boy.
There we go, bald boy, baldy.
But anyways,
That's like
yeah, this app really is ESL world. It is for non-native English speakers to come here to talk with American English speakers and try to improve their English language, I think, in many ways.
Yeah, the guy Marcus was using us as like an exhibition. He was like, I think for my German friends it will be very interesting to listen to people like Brad, a real American, if you can believe that.
Good Brad was like, I love this woman. I would marry you, Dr. Francine.
What the fuck?
Oh, you have no idea how accomplished this woman is. She is such an environmentalist. You have no idea. Look her up. Oh.
If you were younger, Dr. Francine, I would fuck the shit out of you.
Damn. But any chance that I get to record Marshall Rankin Stankin and dox him on X and YouTube and use his name, I think I will take that opportunity. Because he is one lazy piece of shit. He mumbles everything. He's, I believe, a pretty heavy drinker at times, but none of that. I mean, I drink. The whole point is they are fakes. He voted for Kamala Harris. So, and then he constantly says, my party. You know, it's like, they're just the most inauthentic rubes. I guess I hate to quote Dr. Hannibal Lecter, but he's not a well-polished rube. He's just a hillbilly. So I guess I'm angry over a hillbilly. But anyways, we are moving on. Dr. Brian, welcome to the show. How are you, sir?
Oh, I'm fired up. I'm ready. Like Scott Jones and Marshall Rankin voting for Kamala and then acting like they can talk in regular circles. It pisses me off, and there's an opportunity to dox them, but I'm just here to listen. And I wasn't going to join. Clearly, I have more impressive things to say than the YouTube comments. Other than that, I'm just listening.
I agree. Dr. Scott Jones, though I am friends with him, is an F word. And he is... I like his communication, and I think he's fun and friendly, but, you know, I don't really trust F words all that much, to be honest with you, in general. Now, you might say that is homophobic of me, but it's not homophobic. I would never... See, I think we already have equal rights. I think how you want to orgasm in private, as long as it's legal, is your right to be as gay as you want to be. You can be that fucking big of a, an F word. That's your choice to be an F word. But some people are bisexuals.
Why don't
much homo churches.
You never heard of the Lutheran Church?
Dude, that has really been my experience.
If you see a rainbow flag on the outside of a church and it's super inclusive, well, you still might have a nice potluck, but it doesn't mean I support your orgasm desire. It's just, and I'm not homophobic. I'm gay. So, anyways, I'm gay, and not many people know that about me, but I'm actually gay.
I'm transgender.
I was a woman. I shaved my head. I started taking hormone supplement therapy. So let me open up my new burner. It's not new. People already know this account. It's called Wizard. But this is, let's see. It's hard to find a political. Well, let me just take you to chillism. It's a good indicator.
I don't want to call it a scheme, but the whole situation where the pseudoscience got, coughed around, and then the skepticism grew in the botany community, and because of that, all of massive